Hello, James here. I'm about to show you a video, and this guy, he makes a good point. Some good points in this video.
Curfews, closures, and chaos in South Beach as spring break visitors overwhelm the city.
Hey, what's good, guys? So ever since I made this first video on black people, I've been trying to go deeper to see what people are saying and what's going on in the black community. And that led me to this video right here. Check it out.
The black community is doomed. And while I don't no longer identify as a black man, the women are attracted to killers and drug dealers. Asian Doll made a tweet that said, I'm attracted to killers. If you don't have any bodies, I don't want you. Dysfunctional. How can you save a community that's in love with its dysfunction? It's black men that would be square-headed if girls actually liked and respected a 9-to-5 honorable man. But they're out here selling drugs. They're out here trying to be a rapper and a gangster because that's what girls like. And girls will tell you they don't want but they want a scammer or a drug dealer. They love criminals. How can you save a community that loves the criminals and shames the good dude? You can't. If you're a good brother with the head on your shoulders, you have to escape.
So listen, this is a tweet he's talking about by Asian the Brat. She said, please have at least 3 bodies.
Worried about rising costs, power outages, uncertainty? With ADT Solar, take more control and protect your...
About by Asian the Brat. She said, please have at least 3 bodies before you talk to me. Boy, I like killers. I am embarrassed. I am disappointed. And then there's comments defending this tweet. Y'all taking this too literal. She's just saying she likes to be protected. Well, she didn't say that. She said she liked killers. Straight up. You don't have to be with a killer to be protected. And the thing he said about men acting like squares if women wanted squares, I agree with that. Because women determine the dating market. Us men, we have to learn about women and chase them. We have to know what they want and be that. So if they want squares, we'll act more like squares. If they want gangsters, we're gonna act more like gangsters. If all women right now said, I require at least 10 dates before I even kiss you, we would have no choice but to take them on 10 dates. They determine the market. But let's continue, man. This is a video I found on YouTube about a guy interviewing girls and asking them if they would prefer a drug dealer or a doctor.
I'd rather date a doctor that makes $600,000 a year or a drug dealer that makes $3 million a day.
Drug dealer.
Drug dealer?
Period. Drug dealer. Drug dealer. Drug dealer. Drug dealer. Only fuck drug dealer. Where the stash at? Give me the drug dealer. I already like killer.
Period. Alright.
Now you gotta calculate the drug dealer. You heard her. Drug dealer. You know the vibes. I'm going with the $3 million a day. A day? $3 million a day?
A day. She said a proper a day.
Like what? Yeah, I'm with that. Like that's why.
It's a no-brainer.
Right. And I like drug dealers. A drug dealer.
How come?
Because I would date.
This is what happens when you have a culture that chases instant gratification instead of long-term stability. It's like they don't even care what comes with dating a drug dealer. If you're a drug dealer, there's 2 outcomes for you. You either get killed or go to jail. And with fast money comes slow problems. So these girls right here are not thinking about the long-term repercussions. They're thinking about the lavish lifestyle right now. And then they're going to have babies with these drug dealers, and he's going to end up killed or being jailed, and they're going to end up being single mothers. So they're pretty much saying, I want to be a single mama. That's what they're pretty much saying. And the black community has the most single moms. And it's just going to increase with bullshit like this.
Why do average people think dating average people is settling for less?
Nobody want a nigga that work 9 to 5. Like, it's not giving that.
Let's bring that back. What you mean you don't want niggas that
You
date?
understand that there's 9 to 5s like lawyers and you know what I mean?
What kind of niggas you want? Like you don't want a 9 to 5 nigga. You want a nigga you want?
Alright, I want a nigga that you're scammer and a nigga that work
Drug dealer?
too, but not no 9 to 5. Not giving that.
What kind of work? Drug dealer?
Like no.
No, there's no drug dealers.
A nigga that scam like he's outside to get the bread and come back to the breach.
So once that dude get locked up,
Exactly.
what is on to the next one?
You gonna stay with him?
I'm
You hold him down?
I'm gonna take his money and then.
What money? The feds is taking that money when he go to jail.
Well, then he's a go.
So what are you gonna do though?
me with myself. Another scam mom.
But you just say you helping, so you going to jail too.
She's a dumbass. She would rather take on a life of crime than be in a stable relationship, man. It's so ridiculous that it's just funny, man. Like, come on, you'd rather date a scammer with the risk of going to jail than actually have a stable relationship with the average guy and build a family. Sad, man, sad. And that leads me on to this next clip of a girl rejecting
Who more think we should protect those
brother over
women?
here that works for the military as a physicist.
Hello. Hi.
What up? You're reading?
Yeah, I was actually reading. I ship out in a few days, so I was just reading the art of strategy.
Okay.
For the military?
Yeah, so actually I'm a nuclear physicist for the Navy, so I do that in a few days.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your stuff.
I like martial arts a lot. I did a bit of pharmacy back when I was a little bit younger, about 2-3 years ago. I got certified at pharmacy around when I was 17. I didn't really do anything with it. I went to university for a while. I was getting like a business degree, so I have a bachelor's in business. And then I did pharmacy for a little while, for about 3 years, and then got bored, so I was like, let's go see what the military has to offer. Didn't do anything. Now I ship out in a few days.
Oh, okay, nice. Well, best of luck as you ship out pineapples.
Yeah. Why?
Because he literally didn't tell me any qualities about himself. He's just like, I made a 96 on this. I did this. And I feel like I did that at first too. But however, I need a man with some personality.
You felt that quick? You knew you didn't have personality?
Yes, I'm really good at reading people.
And by that she means she needs him with a little edge, a little swag, you know what I'm saying? He was too proper for her. Even though he has all the accolades, he got a great job, he's definitely gonna make
That's
a lot
where
of
your
money.
good black
He seems
men
like
are
he has a
going.
good head on his shoulders. She don't care about none of
Guys
that.
like
You gotta
that.
have some of that swag, because that's what the girls want, you know what I'm saying? And she probably will not be looking for someone like him that's stable until she's older, like mid-30s.
Yeah.
And I can't fully blame her because that's just the culture nowadays.
Right.
It's in the music, it's in the movies, it's in the TV shows, social media, everything, man. They're programmed to be like this. And they won't break through the program, the matrix, until they get older and realize, hold up, a drug dealer's not going to take care of his kids?
Wait a minute.
He's going to be in jail? Oh, I'm a single mom?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Curfews, closures, and chaos in South Beach as spring break visitors overwhelm the city. Most of those are young and black, prompting some to question whether race is motivating the city's response.
They're met with heavy police presence, right? They're met with street closures. They're met with closed parking lots.
Miami-Dade
Get hired at the Kroger Distribution Center and earn at least $22.76 an hour and get a training bonus of $2,000 within the first 6 weeks. Apply online today at KrogerDC.com.
Miami-Dade NAACP President Daniela Pierre argues the city's amped-up police presence and aggressive enforcement of curfew with little notice to visitors sends an unwelcoming message and only adds to tensions.
What are you targeting? Is it crime or is it a culture?
COVID has had people pent up for quite a long time, again, well over a year.
The city's police chief telling Local 10 the environment this year is different and crowds have been challenging officers trying to make arrests.
I think they're coming here to kind of unwind a little bit, but I think they're also pushing the gambit of obeying the rules.
Just look at the videos. We're not targeting a group of people, we're targeting conduct.
Mayor Dan Gelber says this enforcement is about public safety.
I can't defend this. I can't defend the black community on this, because if you're going somewhere and acting a fool, acting wild, crazy, destroying property to the point that businesses have to close their shit down when you come through, then I can't defend it, man. The police are going to be on guard to protect their shit. I can't blame them, man. It would be different if we actually went to Miami, had fun without destroying shit and acting crazy. Then I could defend it and say the police has no right to do that, man. We just came here and we're having fun. We're not doing nothing. We're not destroying shit. We're chilling. We are chilling. But nah, y'all acting crazy, going on top of cars and shit and destroying shit and resisting arrest and all that, like just making shit worse. Okay, so say if I have a couple friends, I invite them to my crib, and then they go and destroy my shit. You think I'm gonna let them back to my crib? No. And if they do come back to my crib, I'm gonna keep a close eye on them. It's the same concept. Y'all just act crazy and destroy shit when y'all go to Miami. And I'm not saying it's everybody that does it down there, but the people that do it, they ruin it for everybody else. And this is why the police has to be around to protect the property, to protect the businesses, because shit get out of hand real quick. And every time, I think there's been a shooting down there for the past few years. That's why I don't be in spring break Miami, man. I go to Miami after the spring break shit. I'm not trying to deal with all that, man. Black people, we gotta do better, man. We gotta do better. We can't blame everything on the police. We can't blame everything on discrimination, on white supremacy. I think that shit does exist in some circumstances, but most of the time, it's just us acting a fool and just blaming people and not holding ourselves accountable. We need to start looking at ourselves and stop being victims. We need to change the course of the black community, man, because this shit's wild. It's crazy. Y'all can still go to Miami and be ratchet. Shake that ass. I got nothing against that. I like to see some ass, but just don't destroy shit. Damn.
Alrighty. Good day to you. It's John Clement, aka The Boss, with another Car Talk, bringing you some useful information that will help you hopefully to grow in life and in business. And today, as usual, I'm going to be talking about something that has caught my fancy, as they would say. Just something that tickled my crotch or just really kind of pissed me off. And it's really talking about why our country, the people of our country, and especially our black community, why we are so weak. I was watching a video. It was talking about why Indians, the country of India in America, is so strong. And it was just talking about what they do differently with their children, how they treat education, how they treat their family. And man, it just really it didn't piss me off, but at the same time it kind of did, because it's like, this is just basic stuff. How a group of people, not just one family, I'm talking about a group, how they operate as a group. That is one of the things we miss. Americans are so separated that we're not even just Americans anymore. Remember when America and then France and UK, we could be saying that Americans did this, America this. You don't see that hardly anymore because we're so divided and so many interests are taking over what America supposedly is that it's just based off of groups. So this group of Americanized Indians were just killing it. They're like number one in a whole bunch of economic and family stats, and it just pissed me off to see how weak Americans are, and also going into the black race. Now, once again, my channel is not just about black people. It's about just the crazy stuff that's going on in the world, and then how it applies to you in your life, whether you're black, white, Asian, Indian, whatever you are. Some things will be specifically based off of the black race, because I am a black person, how it impacts us. But this here is specifically about Americans and black folks, black Americans, because we have become weak. I'm talking about downright pitiful, sorry you can't lift up a biscuit weak. And my next part of this is, when Americans, and especially black folks, are at their best, when we're at our best? When it's the worst of times. That's when we're at our best. When Americans were going through World War I and World War II, they were awesome folks. When black folks were just getting out of slavery and just starting to, build on their own lives for freedom, they were awesome. Awesome during crisis, during the Jim Crow times in the South, black folks were not, say, economically awesome, but they were thriving and they were surviving within each other, and they were a tighter bond of actual community. And that's what we're missing as Americans and as certain groups of people, especially black people. We don't have community. We don't have a sense of self. It's all selfish. We don't have a group thought and movement that we used to have when we were hard pressed on every side to only look to ourselves sometimes. I remember in my little hometown, we barely had, we couldn't even go to one part of town where they had grocery stores. So you had to get little trinkets and things from little local market stores. Remember Mr. Jubit's spot? All those places closed down because when we were now able to have the freedom to go to other places, we left those places alone. But when we were in distress, when we were at our dire needs, we worked together with us. Same thing as Americans. When there's stressful times as Americans, we worked together for war, epidemics. When even you talk about when the settlers were moving to the West, they worked together, and these were strong ass people who could build their own houses and cook their own food, kill their own animals. Now people go damn crazy if the grocery store is closed. Weak people. And here's the reason, one of the reasons I believe that we are so weak as a country and as a people, the black community. We got too many damn options. Too many options. I'll give you a great example. When I was growing up, we had corn flakes. That was it. Corn flakes. It wasn't no Tutti Fruities. It wasn't no Bama Whammas. It wasn't no Rice Krispies. Most times all we had up there was corn flakes. We had bread and we had syrup. Pretty much it. So what happens when a person has too many options? They start being choosy. Bougie. Sometimes I like to call people bougie who tell me they got, well, I don't really feel like this, or I don't have a taste for this, or I don't really. That's a bougie ass sound, because when you didn't have nothing, you would take whatever. Me and my grandson, we have some of the little, discussions about this, where when he wants to eat something, it has to be a certain thing. Oh, I only eat chicken nuggets. Oh, I don't eat the skin on the chicken. Or I don't do this. It's like, what the hell? What the hell? What has happened? Too many options makes people spoiled. We didn't have too many of any video games when I was growing up. The person who had the video games, the one guy, we used to all try to get to his house to play it every now and then. That was it. Now everybody got a video game in the palm of their hand. So it's not something to strive for. It's not nothing special. And people believe they're supposed to have it. That's where the biggest issue, I think, comes in for me. People they believe they're entitled to certain things. They're entitled to have a bunch of variety of food. They're entitled to have the stuff that they desire. No, you're not entitled to nothing. You're entitled to the pursuit of it. That's what the Constitution says. The pursuit of happiness. It doesn't say you're going to be happy. It says you can pursue happiness. But everybody thinks you're supposed to have it. And we're so weak and so coddled and don't have any backbone to where we whine and complain about stuff that other people will kill for. Folks in Africa would kill to have some of the food that these kids throw away. Folks in some of these other poor third world countries would kill to have opportunities that Americans just kind of throw away. Oh, I don't want to work at McDonald's. Oh, I don't need to do this. And the state is actually promoting the weakening of our people. Now, I'll tell you why. I why. Let me tell you how. I'll give you some instance of how. Anytime you get something for nothing, that's promoting weakness. You didn't do shit to deserve it. So why do you think you need it or you should get it? Because what happens now, when you get it for free, you expect it for free. That's where the issue comes in. You expect things for free and you expect a bunch of options. You ever seen a person complaining about free shit? I have. I can't believe it sometimes. But people will actually complain about getting stuff for free. Oh, this is not really the one I wanted. Oh, what the hell are we talking about? What the hell have we come to? We are so weak, so coddled as a country, and especially, I'm going to tell you, as a black person, I feel we are so coddled. Me and a buddy of mine had a big discussion about that. How we believe that we thought we were giving our kids more options, but we made them weaker. We made them a weaker people because of all those options. So, we're weak. Americans weak. America is weak. And the black race is weak for sure. It's just this hard for me. So, I just wanted to throw that out to y'all today. What do you think about it? Put it in the comments. Let me know. But
I'm going to say like this. I'm about to get a blessing and this coming Thursday. And it didn't have to cost me nothing. And I am blessed. And because someone's basically, it's something that I didn't know by me being in the condition that I was in, I was basically given a right to. And I'm about to get some furniture. And someone's going to pay for it. I'm gonna leave that up to, but I'll give you more of the testimony when it comes on my next video. And it's paid for. It's legit. And all I gotta do is just show up. This coming week, I got some furniture that I badly needed too. It didn't cost me a dime. And my complex has helped me out. And I ain't gonna complain about nothing, because you know what? In this life, favor ain't fair. When it comes to man, favor ain't fair when it comes to man. When it comes from, well, when you got a relationship with the Most High, that's when it's fair. But he's right. But why did I show you those two videos? Because even though I can address some things about racism, I made videos about racism and from different aspects of racism, but sometimes I got turned back towards people that look like us and see what the hell is going on. What the heck is going on? Why we keep doing the things that we do? Some of us do the things that we do that look like, and like I said, you see with the one video that the young lady said she wanted N-word. Now, let me break down an analogy about this N-word. Imagine I made a comment about this. Imagine some white person hearing that. Now, let me explain to some of you black folks when white people hear N-word. When she said, "I'm looking for an N-word," I'm looking for an N-word. And I bet you did. I bet you some white people who heard that N-word say, "I don't believe this, that this woman said that." Let me, and I hope one day some black people come to the revelation. When that N-word was released 400 or 500 years ago, even though you try to redirect it and put it in a street term, it's something like it was something in the Bible. It became a curse. So when she said, I need someone to be about that scamming, robbing stuff, that's being part of the N-word that some white people say, see, we don't have to say the word no more. Because they call themselves the N-word. This is what I'm saying. And then only that you said it, you acted on what they're saying, that what was told to their generation of people, and continue to this day why we call them black folks N-words. And to watch black folks call each other N-words. You know? I mean, it's ridiculous, and it's like, wow. It's like, damn, this person just said that, and it, you know, and this one, it's gonna lead up to my next video. Boom. This lady Duplay gonna break it down from the civil rights leaders. It's something wrong in Black America. Someone's got a mental crisis. I'm gonna call it what it is. I think it's that Bible got some connection with it. I'm serious. You cursing yourself.
Come back and get credit for the work you put in.
You take the same word and curse yourself with the same word that white people discriminate against you with. Kill over and discriminate against you. You can't make this up.
Apply now.
For your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. Well, today I'm continuing the discussion of self-hatred in the African American community, and I'm bringing in some heavy hitters, and that's our ancestors. So the title of the video is What the Ancestors of African Americans Said About Self-Hatred. You don't have to be a rocket scientist or a psychologist to see that self-hatred is running rampant in the African American community. You can hear it in the music, in the language, in the way we dress, even in the way we treat each other. It's obvious, and it's becoming more and more chronic. But we have to try to do something to offset this. Our ancestors saw it, and they saw that it was going to get more serious. And so they left information behind to try to help us navigate through this. So I'm going to listen to the ancestors and hear what they had to say about self-hatred, and hopefully we can come up with some ways to offset this so that we can move ourselves together in a healthy way. I will begin with the master, Dr. John Henry Clark, who was a professor, a historian, and pioneer of Pan-Africana studies and professional institutions in academia starting in the late 1960s. He became an ancestor in 1998. I'm beginning with Dr. Clark because he established the place and the ancestral homeland for people of African descent. He said, Africa is our center of gravity, our cultural and spiritual mother and father, our beating heart, no matter where we live on the face of the earth. If Africa is our center, then an African American is a stranger in a foreign land. It's like the song we used to sing in church. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long, long way from home. Dr. Clark further states, there was a time when all dark-skinned people were called Ethiopians, for the Greeks referred to Africa as the land of the burnt-faced people. I use those two quotes to illustrate that we are a people outside of our natural environment, and we all know how we got here, but that was the beginning of our self-hatred. The cruelest thing slavery and colonialism did to the Africans was to destroy their memory of who they were before foreign contact. In the land of our captivity, it was necessary for our captors to control us. Dr. Clark says, to control a people, you must first control what they think about themselves and how they regard their history and culture. And when your conqueror makes you ashamed of your culture and your history, he needs no prison walls and no chains to hold you. Quote number 5, Dr. Clark says, I want to make it clear that the black race did not come to the United States culturally empty-handed. The role and importance of ethnic history is in how well it teaches a people to use their own talents, take pride in their own history, and love their own memories. Now here is the base of the problem. We came to the United States with culture, with history, and with memories. But the goal, and one of the primary goals of the system that we were in was to make us forget, so that people would routinely tell us we have no culture, even as they mimic and imitate everything that they say us do. Even if it's just a handshake or just a call word to each other people will be doing it, all the while saying we have no culture. Even these Africans are coming here saying we don't have any culture. Even as they invade everything we do, we have to tell them, no, this is not for you. You don't speak for us. So the goal has been to make us forget. But as has been confirmed, DNA has memory, and somewhere deep down in our soul, we know we have culture, history, and memory.
You know when it click through to
right now with the all-new CAD Central app. Order CAD parts when you need them, on the job site, on the go, anytime, anywhere. Scan your machine's code.
History and memory.
Sorry about that.
The next ancestor is Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Dr. Welsing was a celebrated psychiatrist. Her essay, Theory of Color Confrontation and Racism, offered her interpretation of the origin of white supremacy culture. She's best known as author of the ISIS Papers, published in 1991, and she became an ancestor in January of 2016. Dr. Welsing speaks about the successful indoctrination of self-hatred in African Americans and why our self-hatred is connected to the survival of white people. She says it's about a total system structure that has, as its goal objective, white genetic survival. The people who classify themselves as white represent 1/10 of the people on the planet and are now becoming a minority in the United States. So this is very disturbing to them. Dr. Welsing explains how this self-hatred indoctrination aids in the survival of white supremacy. She says, we're the only people on this entire planet who have been taught to sing and praise our demeaning. I'm a B, I'm an H, I'm a gangster, I'm a thug, I'm a dog. If you can train people to demean and degrade themselves, you can oppress them forever. You can even program them to kill themselves, and they won't even understand what happened. We do not realize that the massive deaths of black males constitute the genocide of black people, as it takes black males to make black babies and ensure future black generations. Most important, black males must help one another to understand that they are being led by the dynamic of white supremacy to inflict extreme damage upon themselves, one another, and ultimately the black race. Again, Dr. Welsing speaks to the negative influences in the culture as a reason why we're not making the progress we should be making. She says, we wonder why we're not making progress. I can't call myself a B, H, gangster, and thug every day and then get up and do something constructive. That's impossible. Dr. Welsing believed that lack of self-love, which is self-hatred, was the core of the problems in the African American community. And many agree with her. She said, I won't rest until black children are taught to love themselves. That is the problem. But the cure is for us to learn how to love ourselves and each other. And the sooner the better, because it's for our own survival. The next ancestor is Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington was an educator, author, orator, and advisor to several presidents, but he's best known as the founder of Tuskegee Institute, now Tuskegee University. We know that Booker T. Washington believed in education. He has written that one of the worst crimes of slavery was not allowing the enslaved people to learn how to read and write. Booker T. Washington was born into slavery, and it ended when he was about 10 years old. And he was also affronted by the fact that the enslaved people were compelled, grown men and women, to behave like children. He thought that the key to liberation for the former enslaved people was for them to learn about the world and, more importantly, to learn about themselves. I will repeat myself for emphasis. Booker T. Washington was born into slavery. He said the prime condition of slavery was to keep closed every avenue to knowledge. The Negro had no estate, no family life. His sole inheritance was his body. So work was the only thing that they were allowed to do. Now, when Booker T. Washington was allowed to go to school, this is his assessment of the American educational and indoctrination system. He writes, "No American ever thinks that any other race is wholly civilized until he wears the white man's clothes, eats the white man's food, speaks the white man's language, and professes the white man's religion." Now, this is conservative, what everybody calls Uncle Tom, Booker T. Washington, writing about the influence of white supremacy. And to double down on the notion of studying other people's culture, he said, you go to school, you study about the Germans and the French, but not about your own race. I hope the time will come when you study black history too. And this is what he said in a lecture to African American students. Now this one is almost amusing. Booker T. Washington said, "We do not want the men of another color for our brothers-in-law, but we do want them for our brothers." And it may take a while for this one to sink in, but it is related to self-hatred. So, it's there. This last quote from Booker T. Washington is especially important. He writes, "Years ago I resolved that because I had no ancestors myself, I would leave a record of which my children would be proud and which might encourage them to still higher efforts." And we're glad he left this record because he is an ancestor, and his knowledge, his effort, his expertise, his energy, all that he did from the time he started at Tuskegee in 1881 till he died in 1915 has helped all of us.
No, Five Below, you have no idea. More of everything you love, plus the new Five Beyond. Only inside Five Below.
Oh man. Hate them damn commercials.
1915 has helped all of us. The next ancestor is Malcolm X. He was a Muslim minister, a civil rights activist, and a spokesman for the Nation of Islam until he left the nation. He was a lifelong advocate for black empowerment and advocated for the unification of African-descended people. He was assassinated in February of 1965 when he became an ancestor. Malcolm X left behind so much powerful information that's really needed today that I hardly know where to start, so I'll just start. He says, America's greatest crime against the black man was not slavery or lynching, but that he was taught to wear a mask of self-hate and self-doubt. So this was the beginning of the self-hatred in black people. In one of his well-known speeches, Malcolm X asked a group of black people, who taught you to hate yourself? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin? Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God made you? Realizing that the root of our self-hatred comes from Africa, hating being of African descent, he said, you can't hate the roots of a tree and not hate the tree. You can't hate Africa and not hate yourself. He further states, we cannot think of being acceptable to others until we have first proven acceptable to ourselves. You can't love somebody else until you love yourself. In this statement, Malcolm X speaks to the self-hatred of black people. He said, one thing I noticed about black people is that we love and accept other races and cultures before we love and accept our own.
That's true. Yes,
this is one of my favorite quotes of Malcolm X's because it speaks to the notion that many African Americans have that the problems in the black community have something to do with white men, that white men need to change something about themselves. Malcolm X said, instead of changing the mind of the white man, we change the mind of the black man and make him accept himself. And as soon as he accepts himself, he'll solve his own problems.
Mm-hmm.
So he saw the problems in the black community as black men's self-hatred. Black men not wanting to be black men.
Ain't that the truth?
And affirming his own status as a black man, he said, I am black first. Right. My sympathies are black. My allegiance is black. My objectives are black. And then, as a footnote for the ages, he said, there can be no black-white unity until there is first some black unity. We cannot think of uniting with others until after we have first united among ourselves. The next ancestor is Elijah Muhammad. He was a religious leader, an author, and a self-proclaimed messenger of God. He was the founder of the Nation of Islam and a noted mentor and teacher of Malcolm X. He became an ancestor in February of 1975. Even though the messenger, Minister Muhammad, is considered controversial, he did found an important religious organization, and he did deal with African American men almost exclusively. So he recognized and understood the self-hatred of black people. I will admit that some of the things that Minister Muhammad said were pretty harsh. He said, the Negro wants to be everything but himself. He wants to integrate with the white man, but he cannot integrate with himself or with his own kind. The Negro wants to lose his identity because he does not know his own identity. Again, he said, the black man, are the only members of the human race that deliberately walk past the place of business of one of your own kind, a black man, and spend your dollars with your natural enemy. And this speaks to black people preferring anybody but themselves and people who look like them. And this was pretty true.
Yeah.
The minister, however, did preach unity as a means of black people liberating themselves from oppression. He said, not one of us will have to raise a sword, not one gun would we need to fire. The great cannon that will be fired is our unity. His final message on self-hatred was for black people to accept your own and be yourself. And I will add that that is the key to self-respect and self-love. The last ancestor is a young ancestor, Tupac Shakur. He was a charismatic rapper, songwriter, and actor. He was also an activist in many ways because he spoke out about the social issues in the inner cities. He became an ancestor in September of 1996.
Low credit? This looks impossible. Credit scores can be loan obstacles.
Ancestor in September of 1996. It is hard to talk about a young man who was gunned down so young because we saw his rise and we saw his fall. But he did leave behind some words that I think we could benefit from because he really is the embodiment of what black self-hatred looks like. Black on black crime. A young man shot down before his crime. He hadn't even peaked yet, and he's killed, and nobody really knows why, and I'm not really sure anybody knows who did it. So his death is really black self-hatred personified in the form of black on black crime. So here we have it. A young man who is handsome, beautiful really, gifted, had everything to live for, and this is what he thinks of himself. I hate the man in the mirror because his reflection makes the pain turn realer. Self-hatred. He seems to be coming into self-awareness when he says, you gotta make a change. It's time for us as a people to start making some changes. Let's change the way we eat. Let's change the way we live. Let's change the way we treat each other. You see, the old way wasn't working, so it's on us to do what we gotta do to survive. So, unfortunately, he did not live long enough to make that change. But at least he saw it. He was coming into it. Here he says, no one knows my struggle. They only see the trouble, not knowing how hard it is to carry on when no one loves you. Now here's a young man who doesn't feel loved by anyone and not knowing how to love himself. How tragic. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, the darker the flesh, the deeper the roots. This refers to skin tone. I remember growing up when somebody would call you black. Someone would tell you, usually a grown person, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Now that was to make you feel better that you might be black, but you were sweet. But this refers to denigrating somebody because of their skin tone. And I'm pretty sure that this was a part of his self-hatred journey, having darker skin. So this is something that plagues African Americans, and it is at the root of our self-hatred, dark skin. So Tupac Shakur had the presence of mind to come up with his own black code, and this is something, by reading it, you can tell. This is what he saw as the beginning of us learning to appreciate each other and have some kind of self-love for ourselves and each other. So his black code reads, we do not steal from one another. We do not kill one another. We do not sell or offer drugs to one another. We do combine our dollars and buy collectively as a group. We protect our own women and children first. We educate our own at every chance. We do not fight one another. Brothers protect and build up one another. Sisters protect and build up one another. Brothers protect and build up sisters. Sisters protect and build up brothers. We look for every opportunity to start our own business, servicing the need of our people first. Wow. Just wow. Self-hatred has been with us for a very long time. It has been the source of murdering each other, of giving away wealth to other races of people. It has been a problem. At some point, we have to deal with it if we want to survive as a people. And I think the ancestors left this information behind to help guide us and navigate through this self-hatred that we continue to feel and that continues to plague us. We have to learn to be thankful and be grateful, and to be grateful for who God made us, and because we cannot realize our gifts and live our best lives if we are bogged down with self-hatred for ourselves and for each other. I hope we will study what the ancestors have said and try to govern ourselves accordingly and start trying to deal with this self-hatred in our communities that's really destroying our young people and our communities, and is causing all of this friction between black men and black women. We have to deal with it at some point, because self-hatred is a mental illness. Thank you so much for listening to the video. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll know when new videos are.
That's Miss Lady Goulet's channel, and I'm going to finish it off right here. It's a problem, black people. It's a really serious problem, and that's why you see a certain segment of people in the community and are dying, young children, by the hands of guns. It's starting out generational. You know, when the N-word is taken to effect. The N-word is going from one generation to the other generation. The N-word that y'all call each other is taken to effect. They used it as a curse. You picked up the word that they enslaved you with the word in horrible conditions and carried you, beat you, and made you, bully you, torment you with the word. You've been traumatized with the word that you put against each other. You put it against each other in music. You put it on social media. You put it against each other. And it plays out. You put it against each other. And your young people are suffering. And now it's not that you dying in the womb. 75 million do abortion. You're dying on the streets. Your children are dying. But you still call each other the N-word. You tell your little black boys, hey, you my little N-word. Little black girls, you little hoochie. You see where it's going? TV, music, and music have an influence too. What you listen to. You are or what you listen to. That's why Satan before he became Satan, he was Lucifer, and he knows how powerful the music is because you turn out what's going on. That's what you see in the community. When you listen to a lot of it, it tears you up on the inside. It may sound good, it sound real, but what is it developing your character? This is what it comes down to. Your character comes into play. And there's a segment of black people had to pull away because of that in order to survive. So they got to want to be around them other races of people because you don't have enough of us don't know how to really know how to do, like what this one woman said, Crimson Cure shit, conflict resolution, everything about take it up to the next height, intimidation, take it up to the next height. This is what black people do to each other. You know, black people even dictate, get bold enough to tell other black people you dictate. Then you push the other half who was probably make a difference and be proud. But how is it supposed to be proud when some stuff jump off and injustice jump off? You rob and burn down your business. And for all business, you shouldn't do that to anything. And you know it's a setup. When they see you, they have to cage you like an animal. And while you in a cage like an animal, you have to continue, and you up under the system. Your young boys and young girls going back under a system. You're going back in slavery, and you don't even know it. But you're too busy calling each other the N-word. And not even the Klan don't even have to call you N-word. Not the most racist person. All they gotta do is say, put the word, they'll curse themselves. Watch the curse being put out. How many of those people who use that word against black people have watched the word cursed out? And then some of you have walked, then some of the people who commit some of the crimes walk right into that word. Think about that for a second. You walk right into the word. But you say, that's just, then they get you to separate. That's part of black culture. That use the word that cursed yourself and that results in the environment that you see in some cities, in your towns, in your community, in your household, and then social media exposes it, and it goes all over the world. It goes all over and see what you're about. That's why I see, and there's some people who agree with their ignorance, and some of us, yeah, boy, they keep it real. Then when it comes to certain things, the opportunity, they don't take you seriously. When it comes to getting some things done, reparations and other things, you hurt yourself. Like, these people ain't trying to improve. This what they doing. And some of us who the people who are in the position, that's the reason why. Because something is off with some of us. Because we can't, and part of it is that it's trauma, and some of it that we rather hold on to the trauma of the past generations. Some of it is all come about the problem. African Americans some of us need some milk in part of that, and it would probably take another 200 years to unwind all that, because look how we act. I mean, some of us act, not all of us, but you see, it makes a difference in other areas of life. What you speak is what you say, and then when you collaborate, and I've seen something ridiculous recently. You got Black American men getting in the beefs overseas over ego. Y'all represent, man. And let me say this: if you one of the kind of people that got that, you need to stay your butt home. If you don't have no dignity and some moral and dignity, there's some black people need to stay here, because you don't need to go to Africa or them other places and carry on with that budding attitude. You need some etiquette. Some of us need to learn some etiquette. I made a couple of videos about these group of black women online twerking in Ghana. American black women twerking, disrespecting the area where these people left on ship over close to 2,500 years ago. You need to know some of us need to know some etiquette, because ignorance ain't covered. Clowning ain't gonna cover it. I'm all for having a good time, but it's like, but there's a place and a time where you have a good time at, and it's something that some of us haven't mastered at. I even had to think about some things I entertain online. You know? So, if anything, you are what you speak. Now they don't have to call you N-word. They just show us this is what an N-word look like. They can show the kid with a little white son, white daughter, or brown other people. This is what these black Americans look like. You're doing it to yourself. You don't even see it. That's why you get the result that you get. But that. I don't want to lecture, but hey, what you see is what you get. And it's like I have to talk about the other time. It comes back to us too. Think about it. Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this video. Till next time, take care. And think about what I'm saying. If you're African American black in this country. And maybe it inspire other people to think about what they do in their country. Take care. Be blessed and have a good day.